Hello everybody, it's Nerf Mods by Parker, and I don't know if I've already covered a video on the strife yet, but making this strife here, and I wanted to show everybody how I do dry brushing. So, the first step to dry brushing is you need to have paints. So for this, I'm using black paint for all the colors except for black. And then for the black color, I'm going to use, sorry for the camera guys, when I decide to dry brush the black, I'm going to be using silver. Okay, so next, brushes. I like to use big, wide brushes like this, for dry brushing at the very least. I like to use brushes with a lot of, I don't know, big and wide, and they have a lot of room on them, just kind of like this. This is a perfect brush for dry brushing. You can also use smaller brushes like this. This can also help for just a little bit of dry brushing, but for this blaster, I'm going to be doing a good amount of dry brushing, so we're going to be using the bigger brushes. Second of all, paint brush cleaner. That's really important because your brushes will get really dirty. They'll get completely covered in paint, and this is super helpful. Okay. And I just put it in a container like this. Alright. Next thing you're going to need is a sock or rag or something you can use to wipe paint. I use an old pillowcase and a few old socks. Alright. So, yeah, so I'm just going to open up the paint cans and then we will begin. So, actually, I'll do the other colors. I'm gonna do silver last. I'm gonna do the main body first before I do silver accenting. Just because I feel like it. I don't know. All right. Just opening up our can of black paint. Looks like, oops. Looks like this. Just normal black paint. All right. Let me see if I can get the camera adjusted so you guys can see more of what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm dipping it in the black paint. Make sure there we go. And then I'm just going to wipe it off until there's just a little bit here. I don't want too much. So I'm not trying to make this look like grimy. So I'm not going to be doing any brown paint. Now on the American flag paint job for the Rapid Strike I just finished with all the body work on it. I call it the American flag Rapid Strike. On that blaster, I wanted to make it look like grimy and stuff, so I did black and brown on the main body colors. Yeah, but I don't want that for this blaster, so we're only going to do black. So just to test to make sure the colors look nice, I'm going to do it around the mag well here. Just make sure it looks nice. So what we're doing is we're applying a good amount of it, so it's pretty much all covered in black, as if you were painting it black. Okay, now that this is all pretty well on there, and it's okay if there's some spots. That's how it's not supposed to be even. Then we're going to take our rag and make sure you don't wait too long because the paint will dry and then you're ruining your paint job. So I'm going to take my rag and I'm going to wipe it all off. I'm going to wipe off the black paint as much as I can, and that will leave a black sort of residue on it, and that will make it look kind of grimy and stuff. You can also do actual brushing. This is just one technique. This is better for the brown paint. This technique kind of just dulls down the colors. And if there's any mistakes, any spots where there's like mistakes in the paint or something, the black paint will actually get stuck in all those little crevices and fill it up. So that's what I'm going to do just for the main body, and then we're going to do actual like fine brushing for, yeah. So I'll show you guys a little bit, and then I'm going to skip ahead and time-lapse most of it. But we're going to go like this. Really heavy right here. So I'm applying it really heavy right here. So you can see that. And then I'm just gonna take my sock and wipe it off. And that should leave a grayish black residue on the blaster. And then in addition to this, like I said, I'll be doing finer detailing with actual dry brushing. This is just weathering to make it look used or older. I will be doing actual dry brushing next segment. So yeah, so I hope you can see that. I'm just covering it in black paint. Sorry, the camera is not doing a good job. I've been covered in black paint, and then I just wipe it off, and it leaves a nice black residue on there. You can't pick it up as well. Okay, guys, so it's actually the next day, because I decided not to film the second part of the video last night. I was just getting too late, but I did all the dry brushing, as you can see, on the, or just weathering, really. It's not even really dry brushing, on the main body of the blaster, just the shell, everything except for the black parts, like I said. And using that trick, where I was, like, wiping the paint off and all of that stuff, I was able to get it to look like this. And I think that worked out pretty well. And then as you can see on the other side, it looks pretty nice and it looks all weathered. So, yeah. And I also did some weathering on these white pieces here in the front. Alright, so that looks nice. Okay. So then I came on, then I started to do the handle, actual dry brushing this time. Well, it's kind of dry brushing. I really just use paint, but I'll show you. So I started doing silver on all the black details on this side of the shell, and then I'll be showing you how to do it on this side of the shell. But just want to show you what it looks like when I'm done. So I just take a brush and I hit all the highlights pretty much. And that gets, in some areas like this, I decide to do a lot, and it makes it look all like the metal is all worn off. And I really like that look. Okay. And then on the front, on down here, I did it as well. There you go. And then right here, I did it. So yeah, that's about that. And then, so I'm going to show you how to do it with this side of the shell. So, alright, yeah. Let me get all my paint ready and then I'll show you. Alright guys, so to start the dry brushing type of process, you're going to need your rag again, so just keep that with you. And then, okay, you're going to need a smaller paintbrush this time. You can go for a bigger paintbrush, but I like to have a smaller paintbrush just so I can get better little details in. So I'm just going to be dipping it in my can of silver paint. I hope you can see that. I'm just dipping it in my can of silver paint, and I'm wiping it up, paint off on the edges. And then I'm going to take my towel or sock, doesn't really matter. And then I'm just going to squeeze the sock around the brush and just kind of try to wipe off all the silver paint. Not all of it, just make sure there's still some silver paint on there. Otherwise, obviously, you won't be getting any actual paint on the handle. So then I'm going to just take the brush and hit all the little accents and highlights. So areas that like stick out, you know what I mean? So this rim right here, for instance, I want to hit this with the silver, and that will make it, because this sticks out. So in a actual situation, if the underneath the black was actual metal, if you scraped off the paint, like if it hit the ground or something, this would be an area that the metal would start to show. So I'm just gonna kind of just start to fill it in, and I'm gonna paint the tops of these. Just kind of put the tops of these and make them silver. because you would assume that the tops of the screws would be silver. I mean, okay. And I'm gonna put some extra silver on this corner just to make it look different than all the other areas. And now, there we go. This is actually a little bit too much right there. I put a little bit too much paint. That's the one worry. Make sure you don't put too much paint. You can always add more. So yeah, just be cautious of that. And I like to put my brush into the screw ports and then just kind of swirl it around. And that gives you a nice little silver outline around the screw port. Yeah, I like that. The look of that, it looks kind of, there we go. So then I'm just gonna do some extra dry brushing on like the bottom of this handle here, because I would assume this would be hitting a lot and the paint would be wearing on the bottom of the handle. Let me hit up the definitions here. I want to try to show you closer. So on this spot back here, you can see what I'm doing here. And then where the ribbing is here, I'm actually just going to run my paintbrush along the ribbing. And then make sure you don't get too much on there. Don't get too much paint on the back here, but there we go. And that looks nice. Then we're going to hit the highlights right here again. Sorry, it's hard to do this when I'm looking in the camera. I should probably not be. I should be looking at the gun. Okay, with the blaster. There we go. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to hit inside the, right where your finger would be wearing the paint here when you're pulling the trigger. I'm just going to put a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit of outline in there so you can see that. That's all I did right there. I'm going to do the same right here. Be very careful not to put too much paint or it won't look natural. Okay, that's pretty good. So now I'm going to move on and do this black piece here and then this bottom piece, which is very easy. I can show you this. This is a great example part. So I'm really just going to hit the whole bottom with the silver like that. There you go. And that's really all you need to do for that bottom piece. And then, yeah, for here, so I see that this doesn't have a lot of high points, so I want to be very careful not make this look super unnatural because it has so much silver on it. So I'm going to be doing it right down in here, starting off there, and then just kind of going along the edge here. Now at this point that you're doing this, your brush should be pretty dry, which is why you're not seeing a lot of paint coming off, and that's really good because I don't want to have a ton of paint. I just want to make it look a little worn. So there we go. So that looks really good. Alright, and that's it, guys. So I'll also be doing this and a few other things. This is going to have a kit on it, so I'll show you when it's all completely, oops, sorry about that. I'll show you when it's all completely done.